I'm Raj Kumar, President and Editor-in-Chief of Devex. We're here at Women Deliver 2016. It's been an exciting couple of days already. Lots more to talk about. In fact, we've got a great kind of show and tell segment for all of you who are watching this back at home. I've got Laerdal here, who is here with the Nifty Cup, and is going to give us a demonstration and talk about some of the challenges around premature babies being born. We've got Amie Batson, who's here, who's the Chief Strategy Officer at PATH, the major global health organization based out in Seattle. And tell us, this is something that was not really on my radar screen, but there are millions of kids who are affected in low resource settings, born prematurely, who can't quite suckle or take in milk. What is the problem that you've been working on to try to solve here?
You want to go?
Well, I'll start and you do the technical. What's exciting here is it's when you start looking at like what's working in the health system and then where are there gaps, right? And as soon as you start to see gaps, the first step is scanning what exists. How are people going at it? Are there good, tools and innovations out there that just need to be scaled? And I think what's exciting here is when we did that kind of scanning, discovered, there wasn't anything. We needed to create a new type of tool. And so that's where kind of looking at what's there, what's needed, having those dialogues, and then really co-creating with partners to make sure that the right type of tool is designed for the needs.
You were explaining that a child born prematurely in a low resource setting can't quite suckle to get breast milk, that normally what's done is people just kind of pour milk down their throat with a metal cup or with a spoon. Is that sort of the typical way this is addressed nowadays?
Let me try to give you a little more background. About 2 million babies die in the first week of life, even more if you add fresh stillborn. One of the lowest hanging fruits to improve survival, according to WHO, is to help with exclusive breastfeeding. It's a matter of protecting the baby against infection and to help the baby grow. And about 15 million babies are born more than 2 weeks early. Half of them, to 60% of them, require some feeding support because at that young age and development, they haven't fully developed the latching ability, so they will not breastfeed normally. They will need initial cup feeding instead. And if they're even smaller, they will need tube feeding down in the stomach.
And you run a global health business, I think it's important to know, and you also run a foundation. You're the executive director of the Laerdal Foundation. So this is something you've seen as an opportunity, a gap in the market, essentially, in low resource settings. You mentioned the cup. Tell us a bit more about what is the product.
Yeah, a cup sounds and look pretty insignificant, yet it's a potential major innovation. And let me try to explain that. Because an innovation is a new development that has a major impact when it's put to use. And for that to happen, it very often requires collaboration such as we're now having with PATH. So this cup, if well introduced in training programs, if manufactured in a low-cost manner, if offered on a not-for-profit basis, and if pulled by these education programs, could really reach millions of babies and therefore have a major impact and therefore be an innovation.
Can I just see it for a second?
Yeah.
So this is, it's kind of soft. It may be hard to see that on camera, but it's sort of a soft plastic and it's got a little reservoir here at the lip that holds a little bit of milk.
Yes.
And how is that different from, let's say, using a normal cup? I know you can give us a little demonstration.
Let me demonstrate here. It comes with other elements as well, such as some breast milk expression trainers. So I can actually express milk now into this cup. You see? And then I can take this milk. I'll remove this if they are too distracting for the viewers. Then I can take this milk, and when I pour it, it enters this smaller reservoir, all right? And now I hold this up to the baby, and the baby needs to move its gums to take that milk, and therefore the baby is collaborating and is doing some of the movements that it later need to do to facilitate transition to nipple feeding.
So it's both training the baby, its muscles, but also making sure it's not choking or taking too much at once.
Yes. If you compare this with a regular cup, one should think that you could use anything to sort of do this cup feeding, but you do not want to pour this milk into the baby. The baby needs to be prepared and to swallow. If you're pouring it, it could cause suffocation, it could cause regurgitation, and it could complicate sort of getting accustomed to breast milk.
And these are the most vulnerable babies. You want to make sure that they have a smooth transition on to exclusive breastfeeding. Yes. And a cup like this, what does it cost? What's the rollout plan? How will you get it to people?
Well, we first and foremost believe that it's needed in the first few days of life till the baby is stabilized. So we're aiming first and foremost at reaching the institutions where these low weight babies and preterm babies are catered for. And to be a practical solution there, it needs to be in a material that can withstand hundreds and thousands of times of cleaning, be it boiling or autoclaving. So for that reason it has a special material, but we believe that this will cost around $1. And if you depreciate that over the number of babies it can reach, it's really an extremely low cost intervention.
Extremely low cost.
Yes.
Amie, you used to be at USAID. You know how the global health system works. It's a complex ecosystem. How do you when you look at something like this and you think, well, this is a great innovation, how do you actually strategize about getting this out into the market?
That's what's really exciting about this whole effort is that it's been done with, first of all, that end-to-end development thought process going on. So the design very much around what did we see in country, what are the real needs, how does it fit with sort of the baby, the facial cranial. So seemingly simple, a lot of complex science that goes behind it. But then it's being coupled with some existing training programs that are all about helping that newborn survive. So that the Helping Babies Breathe initiative, the kind of training that goes with it, so having the doll, having the mama breast, all of this so that it's not just throwing a cup into a system, it's part of a much, really well thought through and established training mechanism, outreach program, and engagement with the health system and the health workers so that they're learning and they have the tool in hand. And it's all part of a package of tools that they need for a healthier baby. Kangaroo care, Helping Babies Breathe, and the respirator, and something like the Nifty Cup. So that's what makes this really a smart and different approach to sort of doing innovation and getting it scaled.
And tell us the backstory here. How did you come to develop this? And have you had support from PATH or from DFID or NORAD? Or give us a sense of the development community, the health community. How have they played a role, if at all, so far?
I represent a 75-year-old family company that for now soon 60 years have been fully focused on helping spread new life-saving techniques, CPR. We're making mannequins, we're making simulators. A few years ago, we really understood that the biggest impact we could have would be to try to help train and equip birth attendants to be a little more efficient lifesavers in low resource settings. So we established a not-for-profit enterprise to pursue this, and we have been privileged to partner with USAID, PATH, Save the Children, American Academy of Pediatrics, and others in the Survive and Thrive Alliance. And I strongly believe that such collaborations offers enormously increased chances of innovation and of impact.
I absolutely agree. I think that's one of the most exciting things about the moment we're in this conference too, yes, is the idea that you bring together so many different actors, and it's the mixing of these organizations and the finding of new models. It's where really the excitement and innovation happens.
It is, and it's what takes it from, one group can only usually take it so far.
Right.
It's the power of all of these groups and what they each bring in this collaborative model that means you can take it from idea all the way to having real impact with speed, efficiency, and real effectiveness.
We're right at the beginning of the global goals, the next set of goals for the next 15 years. As you look at this, somebody's worked in this field for a long time, you feel like we're on the right track? Do you think that we can really actually get there? And what are the things that you're looking to kind of point us in that direction?
There's some good and there's bad going on right now. I think it's a really exciting time because from the very beginning of the SDGs, people are starting to say we have to think about the smart innovations, the innovations that increase access right, to healthcare, the innovations that improve the affordability, and the innovations that really are driving the quality and sort of new effectiveness, right? All of those things. So that's a big step up from the MDGs, right? We're really, we're starting to pay attention. I think what's also really exciting is with the kind of global interconnectivity, we're in a position to start crowdsourcing innovation. So it's no longer just innovation sort of in the well-funded lab, in Europe or US or Japan. It's innovations happening everywhere and bringing those together in these kind of partnerships to drive them. So that's another sort of huge difference that we see. And certainly those kind of partnerships we have with Laerdal, Global Health, with a lot of other partners, there's a kind of a new capacity. Some big challenges there too.
Yeah.
And I think on the challenge front is, it's often the other side of the coin. So many ideas out there, right? How are we really making sure that we are kind of scanning, right? Not reinventing wheels, and making sure that there's a focus on the highest impact, the real needs and gaps that countries are facing and prioritizing to go forward, right? So that becomes that whole landscaping, horizon scanning and curation to find those things that are going to be the most important. The other big issue is around the financing. So, taking idea to ultimate use, there's a lot of stages that need to be financed, and that should be done in a pretty streamlined, connected way. And our world of financing is changing a lot right now. So, historically there were a few big donors, a few big philanthropies who have just driven the whole innovation space. That's changing. So it's changing. You have a lot of social impact investors who are coming to the table. You have a lot of philanthropies that are coming to the table. You have things like what Tor has done in terms of creating sort of a nonprofit side of his business that's bringing in some new sources of funding. Some of those, this is new space. They have different kinds of data needs. They have different ways that they want to be involved from maybe how, say, USAID or the Gates Foundation has traditionally played. So it's requiring some new approaches. What are the kind of new financing tools, new financing mechanisms that enable us to better bridge all of these new potential sources of financing with the right ideas to ensure that they get developed, they get manufactured in a sustainable way, they get introduced, and they get scaled. And I'd say the most important piece of all of that is the country. And that seeing and making sure that this is not a supply side driven process of finance, but ultimately it has to be about country demand, country priorities, and country financing.
Ministers of health saying, we want this, we have this problem, this is the solution, we want to invest in it. Maybe they're not paying the whole bill, but they're investing in this.
That's right, and they're going and talking to their Minister of Finance to make sure they have the budget to be sustainably procuring these and putting them into their health system. And as the world starts graduating from aid, which is what we're seeing, and which was the whole SDG sort of theme that we're seeing now, that's that issue of the governments making this decision about the priorities, having eyes on the pipeline, voice into what's selected, and then being in a position to introduce and finance, those highest priority tools and innovations. That's going to be the sort of really big challenge of the next decade.
I've heard this said a lot, but you put it so clearly, exactly what those challenges are as we head toward the health SDGs. And it seems to me like, in the end, the only way we're going to get there is to reach the most vulnerable, like the last children, which are, I guess you're holding an example of.
Yeah, and if you allow me to add one more comment to this word innovation that everybody is using. I think most people associate it with new technology, but the biggest innovation space in our mind is really putting to better use knowledge that's already there. Better education, better implementation. And implementation requires collaboration, and this is therefore an example of the last and very important SDG number 17, partnerships.
Absolutely. Well, this world's going to require people like the two of you who know how to connect all of these various dots together. Congratulations on what you're doing and on the Nifty Cup. It's really great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.